I bet you guys can't guess what time of day it is. Lights, camera, action. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. We have two things fixed already. Microphone is all fixed up, and now we have lighting, which is going to make this video 10 times better. Before we get started, I just wanted to thank everyone for how much appreciation I got on my first video. I really thought I would get like 10 or 15 views, and it was overwhelming the amount of comments and views that I got and the amount of likes, and I really appreciate every single one of you that subscribed and liked that video, because that's what makes me want to come out here and make more videos for you all. I'm going to check right now how many views the last video has. So let's see. It currently, oh my gosh, has 1K views. 1K views and 30 likes. I thought that we were going to get like, guys, I didn't think I'd reach 1K views for so many videos, and I'm just so motivated now to like really get this channel started. And I have so many ideas up in my head that I just have to get on screen. So here we go. So this video is going to be for the beginners that are just getting into 3D printing. The topic I'm going to cover today is actually desiccant. I found the perfect roll of filament. Will just snap and literally just like, so one of the comments of my last video mentioned the spool weights, which are a great first print. However, they recommended printing desiccant to go in the Bamboo Lab AMS system. Now, if you have the AMS Lite, you don't have the option of putting spool desiccants inside each spool itself. And the AMS Lite for the Bamboo A1 and A1 Mini, unfortunately, doesn't have a method to dry out your spools while printing. However, the AMS on the P1S and X1 carbon has a couple different options. So it comes with AMS desiccant packets. So what desiccant is it's silica gel that absorbs the moisture in whatever sealed environment it's in. So it has to be a sealed environment. Unfortunately, something like this, where it's a cabinet and there's some gaps in the doors, is not going to work, especially in a room like mine. I have some fish tanks in here. That's my other hobby that I'm into. And I just live in Florida, which the humidity in here is horrific. Like, you build a helmet and then you put it on and your breath like fogs it up immediately, and you have to put fans in it and everything else. So yeah, that's Florida. Mosquitoes and humidity, right? You could also do desiccant in the spool weights themselves. So instead of doing a spool weight, let me grab one real quick. Spool weight like this. You can hear there's rice in here from the last video. If you haven't seen that, go watch it. You can do desiccant that goes inside the spool, which is the same exact size as this weight. It just has perforations inside the sides and the top to absorb the moisture. So I went a totally different direction with this. I actually printed desiccant boxes in my AMS. The file will be in the description below. Also, please note that I'm still being reviewed, so those files are probably not going to be hyperlinked just yet, but hopefully the files will be hyperlinked as my YouTube channel will be verified, and then I can actually post links in the description that will be clickable, which would be great for everybody on mobile. So what I've chosen to go with instead are these. These are desiccant containers that go inside your AMS. Now, they print standing up just like this. They have little tiny caps on the top, and they hold quite a bit of desiccant. So I bought a, let me see, I think it was like a quart or a pint. So I bought 1 quart of desiccant, which is 2 pounds. The quart of desiccant looks just like this. It's by Dry and Dry. I've been using them for about a year now, and they've been great. So I started out with desiccant packets by Dry and Dry. So here's a Dry and Dry desiccant packet right here. So what I've been using these for is to keep my cameras dry. So I put these in my cabinet up here. I don't know if it really matters, if it really helps, but I do it. Now these boxes that you can print that hold desiccant, you'll notice this one has a little electronic in it. This is called a hygrometer, if I am saying that right. Hygrometer, what it does is it tells you the temperature, either Fahrenheit or Celsius, and then the humidity. So you can see in my room right now, gosh, we're at like a staggering 51% humidity, which again, Florida, but is ridiculous. Your filament is meant to be kept in about, I would say, ideally 20% humidity or less, maybe 30% humidity or less probably would be fine as well. But once you get over that 30% humidity mark, your filaments really start to absorb that moisture. Now, if you're not into 3D printing, what can happen, and I'm not even kidding, your filament can absorb enough moisture to become expired. Now, at first, I was like, this is complete BS, like, there's no way. I've been in 3D printing now for 2 years, and I have a couple rolls that are getting to that point where you touch them and they're just so brittle that they immediately break. Let me see if I can find one real quick. All right, I found the perfect roll of filament. This is aniline wood PLA. Now this, okay, if you don't know, wood PLA is very brittle just from the start. I have had this roll for, honestly, I think this is one of my first rolls I bought. I actually have the print that I printed with this. So I originally bought this to print coasters that looked like wood, and I've actually printed this on my Creality CR10S5. It came out decent. that printer just took so much tuning, but this filament was really brittle just from the beginning, and now it's just been sitting around in the 51% humidity for the past, 24 months. So here goes nothing. We're going to try and see how easily this snaps. Now, most filaments will bend and turn a little white, especially if it's ABS or ASA, but this filament, unfortunately, will just snap immediately. So there's a piece. I mean, I can literally just it's like a twig. It literally feels like wood at this point. So it just breaks off immediately. Now the problem is, if I put this on my printer and it's pulling on it and it gets like a tight bend like this, it may break eventually. So around like my thumb it's not breaking, but if it gets like a 90-degree bend, it will eventually break off and potentially get stuck in my printer, which has happened to me in my AMS, which brought me to this issue in the first place. So I was printing with my AMS like normal, put a roll of filament that was kind of old in there, and then the AMS started giving me all sorts of weird errors that it couldn't load the next roll of filament. I was like, what the heck is going on? So I went in there and the filament had actually broken off in the AMS because it had gotten so brittle like that and just broke off. What can happen, you can dry the filament to a certain degree. Now when you dry it, you can dry it enough, like let's say you dry it for a day or two, it might come back enough to be at least printable. However, that moisture is chemically changing the filament. It is permanently being changed. That filament is losing its elasticity, and it is becoming more brittle, and eventually it will get to the point where it will have permanently changed so much you won't be able to dry it out enough. Now, I have one roll that is almost at that state as well. That is my indigo blue roll. I actually have it on, I think, my AMS light behind. The light is so bright, it's like impossible to see out there. But I just printed a Snorlax, a poop bin for the A1 Mini. So this sits on the side of the A1 Mini and drops the poop in there and it eats it. I still gotta put his teeth in, so he's missing those, unfortunately. And his eyes. That roll printed enough, well enough to print my Snorlax pieces, but I'm really trying to think of just anything to print with it to use it up, because like this wood PLA, it will eventually be unusable. This one, I don't know if I dry this for like a day or two, it may come back, it may not, probably not, but who knows. So that's what you want to avoid. Now these desiccant packets can help with that. I will admit, having the hygrometer in here, or the hygrometer, however you say it, you lose a lot of desiccant storage in the back. Like back in here, you could fit so much desiccant. That was my one issue with this STL, and I really wish that the community or the creator of the file could change it. I'm getting good enough at CAD. I'm getting close. I might be able to actually fix this eventually at some point and remix this for everybody. And you can see the tabs in here actually stop about a ½ an inch in, so you could potentially get more desiccant back here, but I would love to get that changed about this particular STL. Now with that said, you can fit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these in the front of the AMS for the P1S and the X1 carbon and the P1P if you have it on there, and you can also put it in the back. There's 2 sections in the back, so you could potentially have 7 in total, I believe. Yeah, 7 in total. Put the spinning wheel there. These have changed my approach to desiccant a lot, because the AMS now is a storage for 4 rolls that is constantly staying dried out. Now the other options are to print the spool weights that hold AMS, that hold desiccant, which I do have one of those, but I printed it very large. So it's actually up in my camera storage. So I printed this monstrosity. This is full of desiccant, and it's been in my cabinet for a full day, and it is at 26% humidity, so it's maybe helping, but it's already turning purple. So this desiccant is color changing. It comes blue, and it will change to like a bright neon purple once it's dead. Once it's used up. This one here you can kind of see in the camera, so if I like block my face, it'll probably focus on it. But it is turning purple already, so that is what I mean by putting it in something that's not sealed like that isn't going to do anything. So honestly, I need to dry this out in the microwave on defrost for about 10 minutes and then put it right back in the container and then just save it for another project someday. Now with that said, this 1 quart of desiccant filled up all the AMS containers, not including spool weights that hold desiccant. 1 quart can get you an entire AMS full and then some. So that's really nice to know, because when I got this, I was like, is it going to take this whole thing? Is it going to take this little much? I don't know. In summary, there's desiccant packets, there's desiccant spool weights, and then there's desiccant systems that actually go in your AMS and dry out your AMS unit. Other than that, the only other desiccant options that I can really recommend are if you put desiccant little boxes, like print, a miniature version of something like this and put it in a bag with your spool, or maybe if you're putting it inside almost like a cereal box container, like those plastic cereal box containers, like filament will actually fit in a lot of those. So if you have, an old spool, this is This is a miniature spool that I made out of PLA, which I wouldn't recommend, but maybe out of PETG or ABS for sure, but out of PLA, definitely not a good idea. But something like this can definitely fit inside one of those cereal boxes. Even a normal roll, what you can do, use a whole roll of filament, bring your spare roll to some kind of supermarket or store that has whatever the containers you're looking for at, and try them in there and see if they fit. Outside of that, I can't really think of any other ways to use Desiccant so far, but if you guys have any ideas, put them in the comments below. And I do have a bunch of other videos coming. So I recently made a filter for my P1S, which is going great. I didn't film while making it. I didn't know if it was going to work out as good as I thought because it required some soldering and some wire cutting, and one, I didn't have the right tools for it, and I didn't know if I could do it. And we actually managed to do it perfectly, which is great. It actually is working at like an astounding, I think, like 15,000 RPM on the fans. Ridiculous. That's my like inner nerd there. So get ready for that. I've also got some ideas for this big giant project that involves mounting it to my wall, and it will also take over 7 rolls of filament. So that is going to be insane. I think it's going to be like probably 13 to 20 plates on my P1S, somewhere in that range. It's just ridiculous. We also got new build plates. We got the Super Tack yesterday, so I'm excited to I've printed 2 things on it so far, but I'm excited to do a more thorough review on the Super Tack build plate. Just a whole bunch of video ideas coming up. I have a Prusa i3 that we're going to upgrade. We're going to eventually make that into a Mark 4S, which I'm really excited for. And then I want to do a whole series of beginner videos. So things that I struggled with for weeks when I first got into 3D printing. So stay tuned for that, and I'm sure that'll help a lot of you out there. And I can't believe I've got 1,000 views in my first video, guys. I really thought that I was going to make that video and it might have like 100 views over a couple weeks, and it would take me like a year to get to this point. But we're accelerating so fast, and I'm so excited. I can't wait to improve my lighting even more, learn how to use the microphones better and the cameras better, and just come up with even better 3D printing topics to talk about. Again, these are just my honest thoughts. Like, I'm a brand new channel. I'm just doing this for fun, really. And I just love that I can help some of you out there and give you some ideas. So again, check the description for the hygrometer desiccant boxes for AMS. Definitely get some dry desiccant, either packets that go in bags with your filament, or a quart like this, and 3D print your own enclosure that holds a hygrometer and that sort of thing. You can even do spool weights instead if you prefer that method to go in your AMS, or spool weights and these if you need even more. Maybe you live like somewhere super duper humid. I don't know where is more humid than Florida, because it's like you walk outside here and you can eat the air with a spoon. But if you need that, then you can definitely do both of those even, which would be like super dry, and maybe even just keep your filament dry longer. I mean, I do see my desiccant, it does go, well, I'm also a bad test case because I leave my desiccant, like I leave my AMS open occasionally. Like I'll go and put a new roll in because the printer will have run out of the filament, and I'll like walk away and forget to close it, and then it just ruins all my desiccant just about in like a day or two. So anyways, that's enough rambling for now, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I will post as many new videos as I can. Again, I can't thank you all enough. You guys have inspired me so much, and I'm so happy you all are here. And yeah, just leave your comments below, leave your thoughts, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Testing. Lights. Oh, whoops. No lights. Lights. No lights again. I'm gonna get this eventually. Come on, man. What's going on with this? We gotta get this going, all right? Lights. Lights. Oh my gosh, why? Lights. Camera. Action.